Front Office Insights, presented by Sage. We welcome in right now. He's been on the show a number of times. Always good to have him. Dodgers Executive Vice President and General Manager, Brandon Gomes. Brandon, it's Brian Kenny here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, BK.
So, Brandon, you have Shohei Ohtani pitching again. What is the overall pitching plan for him this year?
Yeah, the beauty of Shohei is obviously any inning we get is essentially a free inning since he doesn't count towards the pitcher's limit. So as he was going through his process, the ramping up at 1 o'clock and then getting ready to hit come 7 o'clock was essentially like playing a doubleheader for him. So, as we got closer to him getting stretched out through conversations like this is too taxing on his body. And we felt like going ahead and finishing his basically rehab progression while in the major leagues was the best combination for him and for us to get going. So yeah, he's gone out there a couple of times, been really impressive, and we'll keep going from there.
Now, see, I watched that, Brandon, and I love the opener, the idea of using an opener. He's obviously a pricey opener, but you've kind of landed on, like, he gets you a scoreless inning. What about having him open, or then you have the flexibility to keep him going, but basically protecting the outlandish offense that he gives you? What's the thought on that?
Yeah, I mean, he very much is one of the best pitchers in the game as well. So we have to continue to build him up so that he will be taking down normal starts at some point. But being able to do that in a prudent fashion while also contributing to the major league team is the best of both worlds. Obviously, we saw him, start the game on Sunday and then have a massive offensive performance. So he's done this so much. I think because he hasn't done it in a while, in 23, he was putting up essentially the same offensive numbers that he has the last 2 years while also being a Cy Young contender. So nobody knows how to do this better than he does, and making sure that, we're not, giving too much one way or the other, and making sure being able to strike the balance is really important. So that goes back to having conversations with him and, being in lockstep with how he's feeling.
So what are the conversations like with him? Because that year you mentioned, by the way, he didn't pitch in September, didn't play in September. He broke down hip, elbow, the whole thing. What are the conversations like? Does he want to be traditional starter the way he was doing it with the Angels?
Yeah, at some point, I think it's very much taking it how he feels coming out of every outing and seeing where he's at, taking a few days to assess, and then we can make our decision from that point. Like I said earlier, that's the beauty of having him on the rosters. It doesn't affect anybody else. We don't have to drop in, somebody because of it. Any inning that he can give us is only a positive. Especially if he's starting the game. Generally you want your best pitchers versus their best hitters, and that's a good matchup. So, like I said, we'll take it outing by outing and look to build him up along the way.
So not opening? I'm a little disappointed. He's not going to be your opener?
For all year?
Yeah. And the playoffs.
Yeah, he'll be a starting pitcher.
Okay.
Yeah.
You do whatever you want at that point, but you
Right.
you want a few more innings out of him. Fair enough. Is relieving off the table? Is any chance of that? Any thought of that being a relief pitcher and a position player?
Yeah, we haven't really talked about that at all. I just know that Shohei is one of the best starters in the game as well as one of the best hitters. So we'll keep going on that front.
Okay. Last year, Mookie Betts was moved back to right field after being a shortstop. Is that on the table, or is Mookie Betts your playoff shortstop, if you're making the playoffs and we think you're making the playoffs?
Yeah, Mookie's been amazing at shortstop. I think, it speaks to as soon as he puts his mind to something, and he told us, right from the get-go this offseason that he's going to go out and tackle it, and he's like, I can do this. I know I can. He's been outstanding there. So, yeah, right now he's been great, and that's our plan. His
defensive metrics are better. In the publicly held defensive metrics, much, much better. These +8 DRS, defensive runs saved. You can see it right there. OAA, outs above average, that's range. What about your defensive metrics or your proprietary metrics or your scouts? What are they saying about him at shortstop?
Yeah, all of it's lining up. I mean, I think the eye test, the defensive metrics, our internal stuff, it all says that Mook has been outstanding at shortstop. And what's amazing is I don't even think he's gotten to as good as he can be. He's taken so few reps compared to most guys who are already this good. So I think from a defensive standpoint, we're going to see it get even better.
Brandon, beginning of the year, there was thought like, wow, is Max Muncy going to be able to, be in the majors, be on your club? Since he got glasses, he's slugging 570, and his on base is 418. So, how do you go after that? Like where he has an astigmatism in his right eye? How do you find out about that? How do you test for that? How did you figure it all out?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that was driven by Max and him saying, like, I feel like there's something a little bit off. I've kind of always had this, and it's gotten a tick worse. So, he went and explored it, obviously through the help of our group, but that was driven by Max. And he took a few, I think it was probably like 5 to 7 days to kind of test it out in the cage and then pregame. And I know we had conversations. He's like, it just feels a lot clearer. So as he obviously, that line of delineation has been pretty impressive. And I think, we've talked about it a lot with Doc in our group. When you see Max go backside line drive, backside home run, especially on heaters, top of the zone, you're like, that's when he's really dialed. And we hadn't seen that for a while. And it's, becoming a much more common occurrence right now. He's been carrying us offensively, really.
Yeah, no, it is back to his former glory, and he was a tremendous all-around player. An even more serious eye injury, the guy you have starting for you today in your Double-A team, we're going to see that right here on MLB Network. Patrick Corbin took a line drive to his eye last year, lost vision in that eye. He's out there now with a sub-3 ERA. He's got 97 strikeouts in 63 innings. Tell me about this kid and your thoughts for his future.
Yeah, just an amazing story of resilience and, an incredible support system from his mom and dad and his girlfriend, Macy, and then our player development group. Cope has always been somebody our scouts loved early on. Big body, thought that there was a lot of ingredients there to be great. And he, working with our pitching group, has just completely dove in and tackled everything we've asked him to do. So he's seen his velocity go up, his command get better, adding real weapons. He's got 3 fastballs and then, an incredible curveball and sweeper that he mixes effectively. So I think this guy has all the ingredients, obviously overcoming something like he did last year to go out and keep working. I mean, he was basically to the point of he couldn't wait to get back to watch game film right after, he got hit last year. So there's a thirst and a hunger to be great there. And, nothing's going to stand in his way.
Wow, that's inspirational. Again, Patrick Corbin, people can watch him as soon as we're done. Again, lost vision in his eye, taking a line drive. He's out there showing a lot of fortitude. He's to be commended. One last thing on your farm system. Again, the Dodgers are known for their tremendous farm system. I mean, historically, going back decades, you're still in the top 5 there. And Brendan, I'm wondering, how hard is that to maintain, given that the competitive balance tax dings you quite a bit? You don't draft until 40th this year, so there are penalties for your high payroll, your number 1 payroll. What about that, being dropped from, even if you're 30 or you're 27, down to 40th? How much does that change what you can bring back in?
Yeah, it's become something that we're just used to dealing with, and our goal is to always pick last, which means we win the World Series. So it speaks volumes of our scouting group, our player development group, how tightly knit they are, and finding these guys that we feel like will be good fits for our system to come in and have great work ethic and make up like Copen does, and come in and maybe they're not a first rounder, but they work their tails off and really elevate themselves within our system. So I think it's a combination and making sure everybody's all working closely together to target players that will fit well in our system and really develop, even though we're not picking near the top of the draft.
How different is that as far as percentage of guys in the majors first round, percentage of guys in the majors second round? How drastic is that?
It's a good question. I wouldn't have that off the top of my head. I think a lot of it is those top 10 picks or so are generally the guys that come in and have massive impact. But you see guys all over the place. We had, Kevin Kiermaier on our team last year, who was, I think, 33rd round. So it's the beauty of the game and the beauty of the system is that as long as you have an opportunity, you can go out and prove yourself and anything can happen.
All right, Brandon, always great having you on the show. Just, Keep an open mind. The opener, Shohei
Okay.
Ohtani. Just keep
Okay.
in mind. Just try to help out. Dan O'Dowd is over there. Just try to help out a little bit. Brandon, thank you so much. Great talking to you again. Thank you.
Thanks, BK. Appreciate you.
All right.